Howdy. This weekend, I was listening to somebody talking about Moses. Now, one of the things about Moses is that you all may know the story pretty well. Moses was this guy who went to Egypt and he told Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And so there were all these plagues, and they went to the Red Sea and they parted it, and the people of Israel went across, and the Egyptians drowned inside of it with their army. And then later Moses ended up finding out that Soylent Green is people. He found a planet full of apes, and Yul Brynner ended up joining the Dirty Dozen. Anyway, point is that Moses is a story that a lot of people know. But one of the things that people don't realize is that Moses was actually a murderer. Moses was a little upset because he saw this guy was whipping one of his people, and so he ended up going and killing him. Well, he finds out later that two people had seen him do it, enough to get him convicted, and they weren't exactly very supportive of him. So he ended up running away, going to a different land, and hiding there more or less for decades. He ended up getting married, he ended up having kids, he basically left and started a new life. But before too long, he ended up being called back to Egypt. Now, a couple things stand out about this. Now, first of all, when Moses was ready, quote unquote, in his mind to go off and save his people, it wasn't the right time. He ended up doing it in the wrong way. But then later down the line, he felt he wasn't prepared, and it wasn't right for him to do it, and yet it was the right time for him to leave. Now, this is an interesting thing, because here he was a murderer, somebody who had done something really, really heinously wrong, and yet he was still being used by God at the right time and in the right way. There are a lot of things that are in our lives that we think about whether or not we should be doing. Sometimes we're thinking about the new job we should endeavor toward, maybe going back to school, maybe making some sort of reconciliation with family members, or telling someone what they need to hear that they really don't want to hear. There are all sorts of things in our lives that we think about, I'm not ready to do this. Or other times where we think, I am definitely ready for this. And oftentimes we're wrong both ways. Maybe we're wrong because we think that, oh, I am exactly the right person to do it. But it's not about doing what's right for that person, or whether it's the right time and the right place, or we're even the right person anyway. It's just because we want to. It's just because of our pride. It's just because of what we think that we should be doing. Then there are other times where we see the worst parts of ourselves. Maybe we're not a murderer, but at the same time, maybe we see ourselves as the one who couldn't hold a job. We see ourselves as the one who could never stop fighting with their parents. Maybe we're the divorcee. Maybe we're just not completely together. So, of course, we shouldn't be the one to do something. But the thing is that when there's the right time, the right place, whenever it is the right situation to do something, and we say no, we end up losing out on a lot. We end up missing out not only on the opportunity to do what we were meant to do, but also there are a lot of things that are good that we could be doing in the world that we end up not doing because maybe we're too prideful, or maybe we're too scared. Maybe we're too forceful, or maybe we're too ashamed. But the thing is that each one of us is meant to do certain things in certain times in certain ways because that's what we're called to do. That's who we're meant to be. And whenever the time comes when you know that you're meant to do something or be something, and you try not to do it because you see all of your flaws, or you try to do it too quickly because you see too much of your strength, things go wrong. So at this point in my life, I know that I've come to a certain place and I'm doing a certain job and I'm living this life because this is what I'm called to be doing right now. And I couldn't have been this person any sooner for whatever reason. But now is the time. And if trying to rush it in the past, my life went horribly wrong. Trying to be this person too quickly. But trying to push it off makes my life even worse. So the question now for you is, what are the things you have tried to rush too quickly in your life? And now, what are the things you're being called to that you may be trying to avoid? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.